相手チームのおっぱいを多くタッチした方が勝ち。簡単なルールでしょ。
Senran Kagura Estival Versus is out now. So, is it worth it? It's a real good game. It's really fun. There's good story, and the characters are really strong, independent women. And, you know, anyone that doesn't like it just has a bias towards Japanese games, or they probably suck at them. So why don't they go back to Call of Duty or FIFA or whatever, while the rest of us enjoy this good game. Well, I better get back to playing it, so I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. It's the end of the video. Are they gone? Okay, good. Sexuality is a subject that's rarely explored in mainstream games. Sure, it's often implied or alluded to, but rarely is it the core focus. Now comes Senran Kagura Estival Versus on the PlayStation 4 and Vita. So, is it worth it? Let's really find out. This is the introduction for Senran Kagura Estival Versus. At this point, you already know if this game is for you. What's not clear is that these women are supposed to be shinobi in training. You know, Japanese spies that engage in sabotage and assassinations. Yes, these women here, the ones in the bikinis. While paying their respects to their fallen sister, Ryoba and Ryona discover a strange ceremony taking place. Spotting their deceased sister Ryoki as one of the participants, the two attempt to rescue her, unaware they're actually interrupting her passage into the afterlife. Waking up on a serene beach paradise, the three sisters are joined by friends and foes from competing ninja schools. The elderly instructor Sayuri welcomes them to the Kagura Millennium Festival, an 8-day event where the groups will compete against each other and the spirits of deceased shinobi who died in vain. The story on paper is rather compelling. The opportunity to find closure with a past loved one is a strong concept. Unfortunately, this is quickly sidelined by the real focus: large breasts. Almost every conversation, conflict, and resolution involves boobs as a plot device. The characters are underwhelmingly flat, at least in their writing, with only one characteristic given to each of them. Even the most serious scenes quickly resort back to ogling these young girls, with battles taking place over unwanted sexual advances. And that's the real problem here. It's not sexy or funny, it's repetitive, making every attempt to return to the plot around the three sisters feel disingenuous. I mean, really, it goes boobs, 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 dead sister, boobs, 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 dead grandpa, panty eating contest, none of which end up being all that interesting, but the drastic shifts in tone are so perplexingly mismanaged they'd be better left out altogether. And these issues carry over into the gameplay. Essentially, Senran is a 3D beat-em-up. Players take on dozens of enemies before facing off against multiple main bosses. Weak and strong attacks can be combined with dashes, wall running, and collectible bombs for more powerful combos and airstrikes. Once enough energy has been built up, the girl's unique shinobi transformation can be engaged, restoring health and providing access to ninja arts, the strongest attacks in the game. With over 30 different playable characters, players will see a range of weapons and styles that vary in range, speed, and power. The problem is the base gameplay's rather limited scope, namely the stiff combat. It's a good thing the enemies surround you, as intentionally directing attacks can become rather problematic, with loose player controls and combos that require precise timing. It just never feels all that good, with most characters being far too similar in technique. This issue is emphasized by the game's incredibly small stages. In fact, many of the game's first missions take place in the exact same beach location. It also doesn't help that environments are flat and under-detailed, though they do use a decent palette of different colors. Online features such as battle and tower defense modes help pad out the overall package, but share in the same shallow gameplay of the main campaign. Finally, there's the dressing room, where players can try out different outfits and position their girls with different stances and facial expressions. More outfits and backgrounds can be earned in the shop, alongside videos and pictures. So, is it worth it? No. Senran Kagura Estival Versus is made for a very particular audience that will more than likely be able to overlook the game's myriad of problems. Look, I'm not here to make a moral judgment, despite some of these heavily sexualized girls being 16 years old. This is just an artistic assessment. While the models are fairly well rendered and the ninja arts and transformation sequences, which I can't show here due to YouTube's guidelines, are skillfully animated, it's just plain boring watching cutscene after cutscene of two or more characters talking about their breasts and contrived dialogue and baby talk. Any attempt to bring in real development feels insincere and is almost immediately undercut by rampant cleavage. And make no mistake, that's intentional. When a girl is powering up, she takes her clothes off. When she's defeated in battle, her clothes are ripped off. But there's never any real damage, no bruises or cuts to discourage attraction, no prolonged ramifications to produce sympathy, just more objectification and implied molestation. And this narrative repetition is plain boring. This could be ignored if the arena-style gameplay was more compelling, but with nearly every mission playing out in the exact same sequence and most of the characters' playstyles indistinguishable from one another, it gets old fast. Sure, there's potential here, but sadly, Senran Kagura Estival Vs is far too distracted by well-endowed women to expand its horizons. Senran Kagura Estival Vs is currently available on the PlayStation 4 for $60. It's also available on the Vita for $39.99. If you've had a chance to play it, please be nice in the comments, and if you haven't, let me know if you plan on checking it out. My name is Colin Tanner, and I'll see you in the next video.